Yo man, did you ever play the DS? It's one of my personal favorite consoles, and it's got a good number of games that haven't been brought back considering the difficulty with emulating or remastering a game that integrates touchscreen, and such is the case with Rhythm Heaven, also known as Rhythm Heaven Gold in Japan. This is a game that puts simple rhythmic enjoyment first and blends in wonderful music and cheerful imagery. I grew up with this game, so I figured, let's rank the games, why the hell not? Let's bring up the disclaimer here first. Sorry. You know, my list, my rules, of course. You know that one. If you disagree, it's probably because you're right and I'm wrong. Anything else? No? Okay. Yeah, so we're starting out, and believe it or not, I actually don't have a game in F tier because of how legendary this game is. But if something has to be last place, it's Rhythm Rally 2. Listen, I'm not sure how many people enjoy this minigame, but every time I play it, I probably look like this. Just this. I mostly like the sequels more than the originals, but I just do not enjoy how fast the ball goes or how many times the perspective switches. I'll just say now how much I enjoy Remix 8 makes this game uber fast, but here there's no dog ninja to mix it up, so I must admit that this game is one I'm not really a fan of. Moai Doo-Wop is a fine game, doo-wopping and all, you know, but the patterns become a little tiresome in this one, although I do like the ending of, you know, like Serenity and A Night Sky. I think the biggest reason why I rate this so low is because of childhood trauma with this minigame, and unfortunately I can't get rid of it, so, you know, it's gotta remain here. Also, beyond the ending, is the art any different from the first game? Like, it doesn't seem like it. Maybe I do have reason to actually dislike this game after all. Get out of here! I'm just going to be honest with you. Rockers 1 is a fine game, where I thought it would be lower on this list, as growing up with it I really didn't enjoy how the game worked much. But honestly, it's better than I remember. Rockers 2 though, man, no. This additional R button press doesn't feel good at all. It's not satisfying, nothing. I get what they're trying to do with the feel of the different notes and the attempt to flesh this game out, but I'm not a fan of it at all. I can't believe how this was the game they decided to make a whole mode dedicated to, however. Out of every minigame, out of the whole kit and caboodle, this is the one they thought would work best. And I like the whole concert and performing act stuff. But, like, whatever, man. Nobody cares. I've always felt conflicted on this game and its sequel. Something as simple as playing ping pong shouldn't annoy me as much as it does, but, well, it does. I get that flicking the stylus emulates swatting with a ping pong paddle, but that doesn't mean I enjoy it all that much. I won't complain about the speed at which it's happening, because that's not my issue. It's the constant flicking you need to do in order for the ball to continuously keep its rally. There are games higher in the list that have a relatively similar speed but don't make the player flick the stylus erratically. At least the music is fun and catchy, so I'll give it that. This Lizard Love game honestly surprises me in how sort of bland it is. This is one of the only minigames in the entire collection which made me tune outside of the game while playing, considering I was holding down the stylus waiting for the next. It's a charming game, but the lizards are just standing in an orange room going to the same melody. There's little zest in this one, and I understand why there wasn't a second minigame for this one. Shoot 'em Up is a simple mimic the rhythm game that keeps up the speed. I don't have much to say about this one that I could say about its sequel, so I'll just mention it's a fine game, but I don't feel strongly about it either. Boy, this remix is sort of all over the place, and for that reason I don't believe it's that great. It honestly is sort of a rat bastard in the way it transitions between the games, and the art is taken from all different places as opposed to having a certain connecting theme. The song also isn't really that catchy, all things considered. I still enjoy it, but compared to the other remixes, it's not close to their level of creativity. Okay, so as a kid playing Rhythm Heaven, I'd probably say this was my favorite minigame out of all of them, but unfortunately, due to the passage of time, I can't say the same nowadays. Hold on call and flick on call, and that's really it. I'm also figuring out that if the game has a flat color background, I'm probably not terribly into it much, aside from maybe a few exceptions coming up. One thing I must mention, because I will probably never get the opportunity again in my life, is this scream the yellow guy does. Normally he says, "Wait, come on, oh yeah!" But for one inexplicable time, he goes, "Oh yeah!" Okay, so I'll be honest, I was actually ready to put this Easter Island head doing some random jargon chatting game very low on this list. Maybe bottom of the barrel, like bottom 3. But the first game really isn't that awful on replay. The music is enjoyable, and copying the Moai isn't as tough as I once thought when I used to play this game as a wee lad. It's not perfect, of course, but way better than I was originally thinking, that's for sure. This game in my head is very synonymous with Moai Doo-Wop in that I remembered hating these first of their games as much as the second, but in all honesty, this game is pretty alright. Rocking out is fun to match the harmony, and transitioning to the dual guitar riff is satisfying, but my one complaint is how when you hold and move your stylus on the screen, it actually imitates the sound of an electric guitar when you hold and move on a string. And this is a nice touch, like I'm not really complaining about the noise itself, but it actually messes with when I assume to begin mimicking the song. Other than that, though, you know, it's not really that bad considering how much I despise its sequel. Blech. This remix is where it starts integrating minigames that weren't a part of the set that came before it, which is one of my favorite parts of the later remixes in Rhythm Heaven games. This remix is unfortunately lacking in the music department. I think it's just alright, but just alright in this game is not amazing to tell the truth. The over-reliance of Fan Club and the 2 claps get annoying and doesn't sound all too great in my opinion. I do like the inclusion of DJ School and the Dazzlers in this remix, however, so it's fine enough to go into C tier.
Together now.
Shoot 'em Up 2 gets right into the action with 8 very fast asks of the player and keeps on going with tricky patterns to follow that aren't necessarily on beat. I prefer this over the original purely because of the difficulty. The look of the minigame is also more appealing than the first, so I guess I'll give that a leg up. I love the resort theme of this remix, and all the games work well within its confines, but this remix literally feels 10 seconds long. Maybe that's just me, but it doesn't even get time to expand upon itself. The first remix may be very short as well, but that makes sense as to ease players into the idea of mixing things up with what games you've played before. That is my only complaint, however, so I still quite enjoy this remix. The music in this robot-feeling minigame is super hypnotic. It almost has an Egyptian-type feeling. This game is also super satisfying to get a medal or a perfect for, considering the robots do a little dance when you completely fill them up. There's a section in the middle of the minigame where the melody shifts and it makes it a little difficult to tell when to hold down to fill, but beyond that, I enjoy this game a good amount. Being a member of the Glee Club singing trio has never been this judgmental. This one is all about time memorization through song patterns. You can actually be a little shaky on this game without getting penalized because of how different the game is comparatively. The hand-drawn aesthetic this minigame provides is my favorite attribute. And all in all, fun baseline minigame. Boy, is this game long as hell. But honestly, playing it makes it seem like it isn't at all. The rhythm misses are just about the same as the first, but I enjoy the new mini robots you have to fill in this sequel, so I'm going to give this game the slight edge. This is the first minigame you play, and it's a fun introduction. Built to Scale has you assembling things? I don't know, dude. And has a wonderful song that heats up in the second half. The second game may have more to offer, but there's not much to complain about in this game. Splashdown is a rather short game, but this is the point of the game where a noticeable increase in difficulty appears. Flipping around with swimming tricks and dolphins makes for a fun time. This is actually similar to Glee Club with pattern memorization, but I think I enjoy this game more than that. The cheers, poses, and people celebrating in the background all add more flair to this game, which makes it a very enjoyable game overall. Glee Club returns with a warm color palette and harder to read yelping deliveries. It isn't too dissimilar to the first game, but I am just enamored with where they took the art direction for the sequel, placing it on a sunset. That means it's just a bit higher than its contemporaries. I'm not sure exactly how long each minigame is, and maybe the first Splashdown is shorter than this, but Splashdown 2 felt like it was 4 seconds long, and that's it. Maybe that's the fatigue of playing all these minigames in one sitting and engaging them in a vacuum, but that's what I think. I still like this more than the original because of difficulty, so hell yeah, Splashdown 2, am I right? Fan Club is super charming, being in a sea of monkeys to applaud an up-and-coming artist. The satisfying levels on this one are very high, although the minigame is rather short. Genuinely, the second Fan Club is just the first, but better in every way, so I retroactively have to put this in B tier, unfortunately. Boy, now you want to talk about a jump in difficulty? This is just built to scale one song again, but everywhere you could imagine a new flick is placed, it's probably there. The superb quota is off the charts, man. If you mess up 2 times, you're not getting it. I understand that these games are souped up versions of the originals, but 2 off of perfect is a little too much personally. Otherwise, it's definitely more enjoyable than the original, considering I've played this game for a while, so, you know, the faster asks are more intriguing. Remix 6 is actually a good way to round out the normal games. A space-themed remix for 3 of my favorite games, and rockers. Unfortunately, there's one area of this minigame where lockstep begins and it feels a little awkward to nail it, but eventually I got the hang of it, even if it feels a little off in terms of when to tap the screen. Otherwise, a simple remix, and they keep rockers to a minimum. And when I say minimum, I mean it, because it pops up 2 times, and it's for 1 repeat each, and that's it. I wonder if that's because there are so many parts of rockers elsewhere in the game that they're like, you know what, okay, yeah, alright, let's give rockers a break for a second. This beaker throwing love game is better than I remembered. Easy to understand gameplay and very satisfying to perfect. Also, the out-of-sight squirrel person is the best part, but unfortunately can only be barely seen, so I must dock some points for, you know, squirrel person removal. This is a nice additional game that leads right into the credits of the game. I like the gameplay of ducking and flicking, but the song definitely does the heavy lifting here, which is the same song as the menu music near the end of the game. I also like the doggy on the side. This game of snapping photos and incoming racers is more enjoyable than I actually remembered. There isn't much to shake up the formula other than people blocking the view halfway through, but by the time you got to that point, you have the rhythm pat down. Simple, effective, moving on.
Thank you.
Bluebirds 2 surprised me in how I really didn't care for it as much as the first game. Don't get me wrong, it's not that bad or anything, but the music here is just not as interesting or catchy as what the first gives you. The ending portion with the repeated neck stretching is fun though. Big Rock Finish is quite unique with its ghostly rock setup. Every rhythm you mimic is the same with an increase or decrease in tempo, which makes you really focus if you're after a perfect. I actually wish this got a sequel over a particular other rock-centered game that I've already talked about.
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
My favorite part of this game is easily after each snippet of the melody is played correctly, your ghost will say,
Thank you.
The ghost must thank the audience for cheering after every part is played, and you have to respect the ghost for that. Seriously, that's dedication. If you want to talk about a game that deserved a sequel, it's probably this one. This is one of my favorite flicking minigames because of how it keeps you doing it at all times. The music and random pans and tires they throw at you are nice touches. There isn't much depth to this one, but we are talking about rhythm heaven minigames here that last like 2 minutes maximum, so hey, not much to complain about, is there? This is yet another simple one, lasting not too long, but there's little that compares to the feeling of attempting a perfect for Drummer Duel. Hitting that drum in quick succession definitely gets the sweat going, and it probably being the last perfect attempt for a while also accentuates that a good amount. Like, why are these drummers so pissed off?
I'm serious!
It's hard to necessarily draw on a certain theme for this one. The game describes it as a peppy piece full of energy and fun. I guess that remains true, but I think the theme may be these armless audience members from Splashdown, considering how they're in every minigame from this remix. I actually like this a great bit, but my favorite tidbit from it is the
Here we go.
that appears every time Dog Ninja needs to cut a fruit. I assume this is here to pinpoint the right moment to slice a fruit, but it's so funny to imagine a whole audience of people watching a Dog Ninja cut into a fruit while a caster says, "Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4." This cheerleading game is similar to another one on Rhythm Heaven Fever, and there's a reason for that since this game is fun as hell. Hold to hide, flick to appear, simple pattern recognition within the melody, which is another cheesy love song but works for the game in hand. The additional effects when you nail a harder sequence are a nice touch. Nothing really to complain about here. This sequel is just about the damn same as the original, adding a few new ways the shadows can disappear. The clear conditions for this superb are just asinine. I think it's one big mistake and you're finished. Good luck. So, Frog Hop is actually quite long in terms of these minigames, and I can tell you how it feels even longer than it does because of the repeated tapping of the touchscreen. There's another game like this coming up, and you may assume it can become tiring and tedious to do it this much, but I think it's the challenge of getting the perfect that makes these sorts of games enjoyable. One simple mistake will remove your work, so you gotta keep up with the rhythm no matter what. With this game specifically, the frog dance number and my guy singing his heart out makes this game quite fun to replay. Frog Hop was already good enough, but now it's all saxed up. Faster tempo means faster taps for the player, which means more enjoyment. I may enjoy this game more than the first, but that's by a hair. So both are equally as replayable, considering that one has a vocal track and the other one is a saxophone cover. I'll tell you something I don't understand. I don't understand why there isn't a second Crom Stomp. Stomping on cue is one of the most satisfying parts throughout the entire game, as well as eliminating those nasty moles from the bountiful harvest. The music is super catchy and the sounds of him when he hits the ground are as well. Super simple and works wonders because of it. Apparently plenty of people who have played this game think this minigame is a little too difficult, but I think it's just right. I mean, these moles won't be easy to pluck, man. Man, the charm of bluebirds is wonderful. A bird in training for what seems to be a war with your two fellow soldiers in tow. Peck your beak and stretch out your neck are engraved into my scalp by this minigame. Unfortunately, it's on the shorter side compared to the other games, but I still enjoy this game quite a lot. An introduction to the remixes of the game that does its job swimmingly. I'll just say this now. You're going to see most of the remixes up high in the tier list sky because of how much they do for each minigame, adapting them to the same tempo and all. Every section of the minigames in this remix are fun and work well with each other. There isn't a theme or anything here, so it's quite standard for a remix, but it needs to be since it's the beginning of them. Another fantastic remix powered by Every segment is great here, aside from maybe, DJ School, but that's just because the game itself is rather one note. The best part about this one is how each minigame just melds together so well with the supporting melody. Even if DJ School feels lesser than the other minigames in this remix, when it's used here, it's great. The high-octane kicking of soccer balls is one you've got. The high-octane kicking of soccer balls is one. The high-octane kicking of soccer balls is one you've got to have your taps ready for. The zaniness of the and make it so you're on your toes. If you aren't ready for this game, it's not going to give you any slack because it's fast and easy to mess up. Not the easiest game to mess up, mind you, but it's pretty high up there. Even with that, this minigame is insanely replayable along with its sequel. We're kicking soccer balls in space, but for some reason we're also cowboys. The hootenanny taking place is as enjoyable as the first, but I'm giving this the higher placement because of a double high kick that's near the end, which is very satisfying to hit. This is the true fan club. The first game ends just about where the middle point of this game is. Adding in a new cheer and a whole new verse of the song makes this at least a tier or two higher than the original, which puts this neatly into the S tier. Wow, man. You want to talk fast? Look at this. This remix has rhythm rally, so you'd think I wouldn't enjoy it very much, but the fact that it just owns how fast your rhythm needs to be to master it just adds to its own identity. The addition of Drummer Duel here gives it some bonus points as well. The ending, switching between Dog Ninja and Rhythm Rally, is just too much for my brain. Alright, so I've heard through the murmurs of the internet that this game has a mixed opinion, considering tapping to the beat than the offbeat is a tricky learning curve. But I must state that I'm one who has played enough of this game to get past that curve and say that this is one of my favorite games in the whole collection. Again, with the allure of the challenge of not messing up once for a perfect or even a few times for the superb, it really hooks you into the timing and makes you zone 100% of the way in. There is no wiggle room for this game, because once you mess up, you're out of the rhythm and have to find some place to make up for what you've lost. The music and sound effects are just so satisfying that it's impossible for me to put this anywhere lower than S tier. Listen, a monk eating by slapping his hand into his other is baller enough. But this minigame, bro, it's just where it's at. The fast reflexes you kick yourself into to keep up with the 1s, 2s, and 3s is just so addicting and fun. The only bad thing is, it's really short, but who cares? He's the monk. That munches. That's all that needs to be said. Man, why can't the other remixes be this long? Every minigame in this remix is put into, as the game puts it, spaghetti western vibe, which is complemented by the risque music that plays. If anything, this remix has the Love Lizard segment, which again feels rather lackluster compared to the other games. But that's a small problem in a large remix, which gives me what I want, yo! Come on now, Karate Joe is just my guy. He always knows how to make a fun minigame, and it's no exception with this one. Punch, hit 3, and punch kick. That's all you need to know. The music is really what makes this game special. There's only a few minigames I actually bob my head to when I play them, and this is one of them. If you played this game, you know how good it is. Not much more to say. Easy S tier. Ah, the classic final remix. What can I say about one of these that already hasn't been said before? Ties everything you've played up into a neat bow. Some things about this remix are the transition from shoot 'em up to lockstep being very unique, the Glee Club trail off, and the music being a simple yet bouncy track are wonderful attributes that wraps up this game quite well. This could be my absolute favorite minigame out of them all, but there are a few that do what they do better than this. Wow, man. If you thought Karate Man couldn't be any better, the sequel is just the first with a faster tempo and a red background, so there isn't much I can say that puts it apart from the original game. Just know, it's a certified thing. Play that shit. It's Munchie Monk again, but jazzy. This is just better than the first in every way, with the elephants and the monk himself looking stunning, the higher ask for the player in terms of reactions, and the fun and bombastic music. Seriously, this is where it's at. All the homies love Munchie Monk. Easiest P tier of my life. Man, I forgot how great these first few seconds of this minigame's music is. Anyway, this is the first lockstep, but in its perfect, raw form. The music change between these games is what sets the second game above, in my opinion. Like, it might just have my favorite from the entire game. No notes, just fun gameplay and rhythm, and that's really all there is to it. Yo, man, thanks for sticking around. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a like and give it a subscribe button a tap. And if this video gets to 50 likes, I'll do Rhythm Heaven Fever minigame ranking. Yeah, you like that, don't you? Get past that goalpost, and we get there. Oh, yeah, one last thing.
Thank you very much.
Peck your beak. Peck your beak. Peck out your neck. Ah,